Now before we went over to the claim inspector, as I was saying, if you don't have the claim inspector, will be approving your charges in here and making any changes, and you can do it in the screen. But again, I want to emphasize that if you do have the claim inspector, make sure you go there first and fix all your errors before you review and approve any charges here. So we're going down here and we see the charges, we like them, and we can go ahead and approve them. Like I said, they'll be removed. If for any reason the charges here, for example, maybe for Jeff Crane on the data service of October 4th, we're missing a charge, so we need to add another one, or maybe there's one too many charges, we need to delete one, or for example, look over here, these two charges don't have a fee at all. So maybe you need to add a fee. In any case, if you have any errors, you can either double click on Jeff or one of the charges here. It doesn't matter, they'll all pull up the same screen. Or you can make sure it's highlighted and click on the View Details button. Now when you click on it, it will pull up the code here, and if that's not the correct one, I always say click the clear button first. You'll see down below we have the two procedure codes. Which one do I want to change? Click on it, and then click the Edit button. You can also, if you're quick, let me clear it first, you can simply double click on it and it will populate the information up above. Now for here, we forgot to set up our standard fee schedule here, so I can type it in, hit the tab key, and then if that's all I need to do, I can click Save. Gives me a warning, it says, look, you've changed this. Basically, we approve it and say OK. And it'll update it down below. In addition, I need to fix the second charge to make sure we do have a fee. And then click Save. You'll notice that when I click Save, it turns to the Add button, because what it does is it clears the top portion up here, allowing you to add more procedure codes. So the only time it's going to be the save is if you're in edit mode. Make sure you always click the clear button when you're done after saving. And for that matter, we can go ahead and pull up another procedure code and add it to the data service. And then click Add, and you'll see now that I have 3 charges. When I'm done adding, editing, saving all over on this left-hand side here, the final step is to click the OK button. If you're not sure what some of these buttons are, you can hover over it. Like for example, the OK and Keep tells you to update, it'll update changes to the database, but don't approve the visit. To me, I'll always click the OK, which posts the entered charges and closes the screen. Now when I click OK, it's going to do two things. It'll go ahead and adjust my updates here, but also it will remove it from the charge review screen. In other words, it bypasses me clicking and checking this box and approving the actual charge. So as you can see for Jeff Crane, the moment I click OK, it also gives me a warning here that you're modifying or deleting at least one of the charges. You made some changes. Are you okay with this? You can click OK. And then you'll see Jeff Crane, boom, is now gone. And again, once I click OK, it automatically approves the charges that I've made changes to and removes it from the charge review screen. And if you need to double check to make sure that it has, you can always pull up the patient and remember it was Jeff Crane. Type in the first couple letters of the last name, hit the tab key and click OK. And go to the History tab, and if you recall, it's for October 4th and we had 2 charges, but you can see now we have 3 charges for that data service. And then if you remember, the letter A is for approved. If you see X's, that means the charges have been approved. So again, this is something you don't need to check on, but anytime you're in the Claims Center on the Charge Review tab and you double click and make any changes in the Edit Visit screen and click OK, it's going to automatically approve those charges. So you want to make sure you got everything right before you click OK. Down at the bottom of your screen, we've already covered the first button, how to approve your charges. The second button, the View Details, which was editing your visits. So if you need to delete a procedure code, add a procedure code to the data service, or change some of the fees, you'd select the patient, click on the View Details button. Now the third button is the Reset Visit button. If you come across a visit that has too many problems to take care of, you can reset the whole visit. In other words, what that will do, for example, on Jeff Bradley, if we reset that visit, it will remove all the procedure codes and put him back in the appointment scheduler or back on the charge slip where you can go ahead and repost new charges. You want to keep in mind the data service here. So if I go ahead and reset the visit for Jeff Bradley, keep in mind that I'll have to go back and pull up the data service October 4th to find him to post charges to. So for this example, I'm going to scroll down, and instead, to not go that far back, I'm looking at December 7th, which is the latest for Homer Simpson. First thing I want to do is I want to show you that he's not in the charge slip screen for that date. So up at the top, I'll click on the charge slip, click on the drop down arrow, and double click on December 7th. The only person I have there that I've yet to post charges to is Marge Simpson, so Homer isn't there. Close out. Also, I want to pull up Homer Simpson in the patient demographics and show you on his history tab that we do have December 7th there for $500. Close out, go back to the Claims Center, and of course I could have easily select Homer Simpson here and clicked on the patient button, and it would have pulled up in the patient demographics on the insurance tab, but then I could click over on the history. So with this in mind, December 7th, I'm going to click on check the box here first, and then click on the reset visit button. Are you sure you want to do this? I'll click OK. Removes him from the charge review screen. Now, I'll minimize the screen, pull up the charge slip, and you can pull up the quick charge and go to December 7th and find that Homer's there, and now I can go ahead and check and post charges. Close out, pull up the patient demographics again, and you'll see on the History tab, no more December 7th. So again, anytime you've got a data service that's completely hopeless, too many changes, that's what that button's there for, is to reset the whole visit. The next button, the void button, is if you want to completely void the data service and also the charges. To do this, I'm going to scroll down to the bottom again and select the latest data service, which is December 7th for Bart Simpson. Now I can click on him and click on the patient button to pull his information up. It takes me to the insurance tab, and you can see up in the blue title bar there's Bart. Click on the history, and you can see there we have December 7th. So I'm going to close out, go back to the Claims Center, and check the box first, of course, and then click on Void. Are you sure you want to void the visit completely? All the charges, write-offs, in fact, if there are any payments that have already been made, they will go back as unapplieds in the History tab with that green letter U, so you can post those unapplieds or give the patient Bart Simpson a refund. In any case, we'll click OK. Now that the visit's been voided and I don't have a patient to click on, I'll have to go back to double check to see what happened. In the patient demographics, pull up Bart, History tab, no longer is December 7th there. Now this is for open items only. I can select the voided items and click the reload, and you'll see December 7th has been voided. And that also includes the data service. Quick recap now. Once I've fixed all my errors in the Claim Inspector, approved all my charges so both tabs have the number 0 next to them, I'll close out of my Claims Center, pull up my End of Day Wizard, and the End of Day Wizard, once I close out of the Claims Center, will check it off that it's been completed. Doesn't mean that it can see that I've approved all the charges. It's simply when I close out of it that Advanced MD will check it off. So make sure you clean up all your claims and approve all the charges. Next, we have two reports that are basically the exact same report. And the purpose of generating one of these reports is to compare charge slips and or payments to make sure that they were entered correctly into the system. The reason why they have the trial and the final is because with the trial you can generate that over and over again. With the final, while you still can generate the report over and over again, it has one distinct feature, and that's the close button. Let's take a look first at the daysheet trial. It's highlighted, and we'll click the Run button.